Welcome to Pro Talks with Blox. Today I'm chatting with Coach Miles Avery. He's an Olympic coach, and today we're at his training facility called Osega, where pitch catch has been going on for the last 9 weeks. Miles, so you're an Olympic coach. I can see you've got jackets and photos of you and whatnot in the lobby. I'm just curious, how many games have you been to?
I've been to 4 Olympic Games, 96 through 2008.
Okay.
And brought some of that memorabilia back and shared it with the community, Olympic jackets, Olympic rings, and things like that.
Yeah, and so you've always been to the Olympics in the capacity of a coach?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. It's quite an honor to represent the country in any capacity, but to be an Olympic coach coaching this sport, gymnastics, at the highest levels has been a tremendous honor for me.
Okay. And you were an Olympian, you were a gymnast as in your youth. What's that story like? When did you start? When did you really start taking it seriously?
I started very late with my gymnastics. I really didn't get an opportunity to do it, coming from the inner city in Philadelphia. And
Okay.
basically when I got to Temple University in Philadelphia, that's when I really started doing gymnastics in earnest, at the collegiate level. And I worked really hard and got really good. I was a member of the USA national team. So I got to travel around the country and represent the USA that way as an athlete, and then went on to become a coach.
Okay, so that speaks to one difference that I see between my craft, acrobatics, and what you're up to. Gymnasts tend to be, 18 and under, and then you get acrobats generally being adults. So I teach acrobatics full-time, and rarely do I have someone under their early 20s in my classes. What do you think that's about? Is that about body development? Is that about the way we train folks?
Certainly in terms of the physiology of the body, in terms of these little girls, mostly I just train little girls. I used to train boys,
Okay.
and boys would do it a little later. Again, physiology, you get those muscles and testosterone and things like that, and you start growing in the 14, 15-year-old range.
Yeah.
Still younger than the acrobats as you speak of, but the little girls, at 10, 11, 12, they really start developing. They're at their peak in terms of strength and stamina and things like that. So this sport of gymnastics, really bodes itself well to, center of gravity being low and the little gymnasts doing what they do.
Okay, and is there a minimum age to participate in the Olympics?
It is 16 years old.
Okay, so that's past body prime for a gymnast.
I don't know about that. I think 16 is pretty good. I mean, as little girls start to develop and start to, in terms of estrogen, and developing. But 16, they're pretty strong, and that's the peak, in terms of physiology. And gymnasts nowadays, and as this next Olympics in Rio rolls around, you'll see a lot of 18, 19, and 20-year-old gymnasts throughout the world.
Okay. It's been really fun for us. We're training just right over here on the mats. Maybe you can see some of this in the background. And, we're doing our stuff, and we see your little girls just pumping through double back layouts, and they're doing stuff on the uneven bars here. It can be a little bit distracting for us, but then again, I see them kind of whispering, like, look at these circus kids, what are they doing? So I'm also curious about the difference between gymnastics and acrobatics in terms of the end goal. With gymnastics, it's a competitive sport, and so that kind of holy grail that everyone wants is to compete in the Olympics. When you're an acrobat, it's a very collaborative. Can't even really call it a sport because it's not competitive, and so the end goal for a lot of folks is the circus. The big circus name that everyone knows is Cirque du Soleil. When you do a trick in the street, someone goes, "Oh, you should be in Cirque du Soleil." And we're like, "Yeah, thanks." That's kind of like you watching me dribble a basketball and saying, "Oh, you should be in the NBA." Yeah, we'll see. But I wonder about that. What do you think life after gymnastics is like for a lot of these girls and boys who have been in such rigorous training, and they compete and they compete and they compete, and then they hit this phase of their life where the end of their career is before they're even real adults?
And so much of the, this sport, people love it. Little girls, little boys love this sport, and they're doing it for the love of it. It isn't and for most little girls and little boys, the end game isn't the Olympic Games, because it's such a rarity to make an Olympic Games. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Only 5 little girls or little boys make that every 4 years.
Oh,
so
that's the extent of the Olympic team.
That's the extent of the Olympic team.
Okay.
And so, we don't sell that dream of being in the Olympics, but you can be on the U.S. national team, perhaps. Even that is tremendously hard.
Yeah.
You can certainly go to college, and that, I think, is a more realistic goal, but even that is tremendously hard. And so, most of these gymnasts, they'll do it for as long as they love it, as long as they want to do it, and then they'll go on to just normal lives and go into college and become engineers and doctors and anything else that you want to do. You dream of life that way after gymnastics.
Sure.
And yeah, the competitive part of it is amazing, and to see these little girls and little boys compete.
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure for someone in my situation to keep running into these people, these folks my age, and they go, oh man, I used to do gymnastics when I was a little girl, and a lot of the movement patterns are so similar between what we're doing and what they were training. And then you have sort of the crossover breed. You have acrobatic gymnastics, where you have these duos or trios training hand-to-hands and counterbalances and whatnot in groups. It's really fun for us, though, to pick up gymnasts who've been out of practice for many years and watch that excitement come back, and that they get to use their bodies in this really intentional, powerful way again. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. We took all of our kids to Vegas, and we saw the show Le Rêve, and a former Olympian was in that show, so they got to see a former Olympian, and they could even dream about that. Oh, maybe I might be able to do something like that post gymnastics, post whatever I want to do in life. But yeah, as you mentioned earlier, our little girls, they look over and they see you guys and say, wow, that's awesome, that's amazing.
Right.
And then you guys can look over there, wow, awesome, that's amazing. But they love it because it's athletic, it's exciting, it's creative, and that's what gymnastics is all about as well.
Yeah. Nice.
So
okay.
They do have those similarities.
Have you done any acro, any partner work like that?
Only with my little girls and throwing them up in the air when they were little, but no, I have not.
How would you feel about doing like one trick with me? We can pick something that's pretty accessible. We can get a spotter for it.
Oh, I don't know.
You willing to do one thing?
We're willing to do one thing and try.
All right, cool. All right, so we got my first flight on Coach Miles Avery here.
We shall see.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Extend your arms if you can.
Go back
come back
down.
down, yeah.
Yeah? So go one more and just try and go all the way
Lift
straight.
your legs. Squat more. You didn't really squat much. You want to get below his jump and use your legs to do all the lifting. And
That's
just
it.
lock
That's
your arms
it.
down.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Like this. Lock them out. All right, hold tight, you guys.
Yeah, nice.
All right. See, I was coachable.
Yes.